Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's continue our discussion on syntax. But before that, let's be well informed with the notions of morphology, because morphology is the base, the stage where we stand before we talk further about syntax. Yeah, morphology is a discussion about how words are structured, how words are constructed in a language. Meanwhile, syntax is a discussion about how words are used to construct bigger linguistic units. Linguistic units which are bigger than words. What are the linguistic units? They are phrases, clauses, and sentences. Yeah, let's come back again to morphology. When we are talking about words, it turns out that every single word, not every single word, certain words consist of some elements. So sometimes a word can consist of only one element, and sometimes words can consist of some elements. So we already talked about that in morphology, and we call elements of words morphemes. And then when we are talking about phrases, when we are talking about clauses, when we are talking about sentences, which are the scope of syntax, each linguistic unit also consists of elements. Okay? And then, before we talk further, now let's talk an important notion in syntax which is closely related to morphology. Okay, the notion is phrases versus compound. In morphology, we already talked about compounding. Compounding is one of major word formation processes. The definitions of compounding is a word formation process done by combining two morphemes, two free morphemes, like weak is a morpheme, and then and is a morpheme, and weekend is a word, okay, consisting of two free morphemes. Another example is, for example, Mary is John's girlfriend. Okay, so girlfriend here is one word or two words. Yes, it is one word. So we talk about that in morphology, because morphology is all about word. Girlfriend is a compounding consisting of girl and friend becomes girlfriend. It is a word. And then in another utterance, for example, Mary is John's girlfriend. What about Susan? Susan is also John's girlfriend. What do you mean? John's girlfriend is Mary. Yes, Mary is John's girlfriend. Meanwhile, Susan is John's girlfriend. David is John's boyfriend. Not boyfriend, say, because John is not a gay. Okay? Yeah, you see? So, I understand now what you mean, Pak Fauzi. I think it's better for you to use male friend instead of girlfriend. Okay? It's better for you to say David is John's male friend instead of boyfriend, because boyfriend is usually compounding. Meanwhile, male friend or female friend is a phrase. Do you get the point? Girlfriend, which means the word you call that in Indonesian, it is called kekasih. girlfriend is a compounding, is a compound. Meanwhile, girlfriend, which means male friend, is not a compound, so it is a phrase. We discussed that in syntax because male friend is no longer a word, but it is also a sequence of words. Okay, yeah, we don't have enough time to discuss further the concept or the notions of phrases versus compounding. I think it is better for you to go over the books, the pages that I recommended to you. So what I would like to underline here, please be well informed with the notion of phrases versus compound. Compound is discussed in morphology. Now we are already in the level of syntax. We are no longer discussing compound, we are discussing phrases. We are talking about structure of phrases next meeting, next week. Yeah. Before we talk further about phrases, now let's jump. We will discuss it in some more meetings, some meetings in the future. The concept of clauses and sentence. Let's come back to phrase. What is phrase, everybody? Phrase is a string of words that has got certain word becoming its head. Okay, so the important notion when we are talking about phrase is head versus other elements. We are going to talk about some other elements and the head next week. Now let's come further to the notion of clause. What is clause? Clause is a string of words that has got subject, predicate, construction. Okay? What is phrase? Phrase is a string of words that has got a certain element becoming its head and the other elements becoming there are some other notions. And then what about clause? Clause is a string of words that has got subject and predicate construction. In other words, phrase is a string of words that hasn't got any subject predicate construction. It only has got a certain element which is becoming the head. And then what about sentence? Sentence is a string of words. Again and again, string of words, because when we are talking about syntax, we are dealing with a string of words. Sentence is a string of words that orthographically begins with a capital letter and ends with a punctuation mark. I'll repeat it. What is sentence? Sentence is a string of words that orthographically begins with a capital letter and ends with a punctuation mark. And remember, a sentence should have at least one clause. What does it mean? Yes, a sentence can consist of one clause only. A sentence can consist of two clauses, three clauses, even four clauses. You can read the examples in my book. Okay? The example of a sentence consisting of one clause, a sentence consisting of 2 clauses, a sentence consisting of 3 clauses, a sentence consisting of 4 clauses. And then later we will be dealing with the types of sentence when we are talking about the number of clauses contained by a sentence. We will be dealing with the type of sentence, whether it is simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, or compound complex sentence. Okay, you see now, I am sure that you are already in the area of syntax now. Well, let's come back to morphology again. A word consists of elements, and then phrase consists of element. Okay. Okay, now I think I will explain a bit when we are talking about phrases. There are some types of phrases. So the type of phrases, the what you call that, deciding the type of a phrase, deciding a type of a certain phrase is based on the grammatical category of the word becoming the nucleus. What is grammatical category of words? Yeah, grammatical category of words is the categorizing of a word based on its dealing with its syntactic behavior later. Yeah. So that is why in syntax we will be dealing with category, and besides category we will be also dealing with function. So in syntax we will see the contrast between category of word and function of words when it already exists, when it already occurs, when it already presents in a syntactic structure, in a string of words. Okay, when we are talking about words becoming the elements of syntactic structure, so the grammatical category of words can be dichotomized into 2. There are some words belonging to what you call it content words, and some other words belonging to the category of function words. What are the content words? The content words consist of noun, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Meanwhile, some other categories like pronouns, preposition, conjunction, articles, numbers, and some other particles belong to function words. Yeah, let me explain a bit about the grammatical categories. For further explanation, whether you like it or not, why don't you go over the pages that I recommended already. Let me explain a bit about noun. What is noun actually? Noun is a word categorized based on whether it is abstract or it is concrete. So it means noun is dealing with something which is abstract or which is concrete. That is the reason why there are some abstract nouns and there are some concrete nouns. And then besides noun, there is also verb. While noun is dealing with something, verb is dealing with activity done by something or by someone. Activity, it can be also dealing with activity, it can also be dealing with state. That is the reason why there is active verbs and stative verb. So it is dealing with situation. Okay. Active verbs is dealing with activity, meanwhile stative verbs is dealing with state or situation. And then there is adjective. What is adjective, everybody? Adjective is a word that has got its syntactic function to explain the noun. Okay? Adjective. And then what about adverb? Adverb is like adjective, but it is not explaining noun, but it is explaining verb. That is the reason why it is called adverb. Yeah, but adverb doesn't only explain verb, but sometimes it can function to explain the adjective. Okay? Yeah, we already discussed a bit about noun, verb, adjective, and adverbs, which belong to content words, which belong to the category of content words. And some others, like pronoun, prepositions, conjunction, articles, numbers are function words. What is preposition? Preposition is dealing with place. Not only dealing with place, but also dealing with movement. That is the reason why there are some prepositions of place and prepositions of movement. For further explanation, you can read here. And then there are also some articles. Some articles is dealing with what you call that, to explain whether the noun you are talking about is definite or indefinite. That is the reason why there are some definite articles versus indefinite articles. And then when we are talking about nouns, so we are also dealing with numbers. Okay, and then in English there are some words categorized into numbers. And then there are also some other words which belong, but by the way, function words actually are particles. Okay, and then there are some other particles which has got its syntactic functions, and then that is the reason why they are called particles. And then the most, not the most, one of the important particles that I would like to explain here is phatic expression, like ouch, like aduh in Indonesian, like wow in English. Well, everybody, hopefully what I am telling you can decrease a bit your confusion. So hopefully what I am telling you can trigger your curiosity to read more. Please read again the books. I do understand if you say, "Pak, reading linguistics books is not that easy." Yeah, you have to read again and again. At least you have to read it 3 times if you want to get the point, or if you want to catch the point. Okay, so what I would like to say, happy reading the pages that I already recommended to you. We will continue our discussions on structure of phrase or phrase structure next meeting. For today, the last words from me are Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.